Dominique Huff. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you for being here.
You're more than welcome. You're just as exciting a person as you was online when
Yes,
you broke
sir.
the internet recently about your appointment of president of Morris Brown College.
Yes, sir.
So I see that you have a 20-year background in educational leadership.
Yes.
So you definitely bring a lot of tools, a lot of wisdom, a lot of resources to the table. So I guess the first major question I would ask you is, are you excited about the challenges ahead here? That this isn't like a typical university situation. You're coming to a university that was pretty much left for dead,
Yes.
forgotten about, boarded up buildings, but you're coming here to say, I want to be part of the change. So tell us about why Morris Brown.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You know, I put it out to the entire world that anyone who wanted to talk to me, I'm open and willing to talk. I want everyone to hear the Morris Brown story. God sent me here, in short. I feel like God sent me here to lend my expertise in higher education leadership, accreditation, finances, academic leadership to help restore Morris Brown College. I know it's going to be it's a daunting task, but I'm ready and willing to lend my leadership, to lend and work with the individuals here to help restore Morris Brown. I've been in higher education for about 20 years. Also worked in nonprofit leadership. Most recently as the CEO of the interim CEO of the 100 Black Men of America. So, you know, I feel like I'm prepared to take on this task. I've already been working very closely with the alumni, trying to fire them up and get them excited about this restoration. And so I'm ready. I'm fired up and ready to go.
Fired up and ready to go. Like, when I think about Morris Brown College, I think about the little engine that could. This is the school that did a lot of things in spite of back in the day.
Right.
So you have a great legacy to build on top of. Where are we at now? How many students do we have? How many majors do we have? Because a lot of people just think this school is just closed. It's just sitting here.
Yes. So currently right now we have 40 students. As a matter of fact, we sent about 10 students today. They're headed to Austin, Texas to participate in the HBCU Battle of the Brains contest.
Battle of the Brains.
Battle of the Brains. We're going to be competing for $50,000 in scholarship dollars, and so we are very much alive, and that's just a small testament of what we're still doing here at Morris Brown. We still can compete. We still can perform. You know, we have a host of faculty members. Some are volunteers who are still here educating our students, and so we're going to keep pushing forward. You know, I have a daunting task, like I mentioned earlier, of working to become accredited again. Coming in, I've made a decision that we're going to change accrediting bodies. Instead of going through SACS, we're going to go at the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools, TRACS. That's another accrediting body. And so we're going to go after that facet. So we have 40 students. We currently have 3 majors. We have a major in music, a degree program in psychology, as well as organizational management and leadership. And so that's kind of where we stand right now. As we go through this accreditation process, we're going to reevaluate to make sure that we have the right classes and the right majors at this time. And so we're going to really be going through the self-study to make sure that those programs align best with our future direction.
So with 40 students, 3 majors, going for tracks
Yes.
instead of SACs.
Yes.
This would be a good plan to get it back open, but actually it's open, so students come in with the financial aid.
Yes.
That was the main thing back in 03.
Yes.
When they could have used the financial aid, they all ran to Georgia State, Clark, Kennesaw, you name it, just like a mass exodus.
Right.
So now they could be able to get financial aid and still come here.
Yes, and my goal, and I said this in my interview with the Board of Trustees, is to become a candidate school within 12 to 18 months. Over the years, we've been gathering the data that we need to be able to tell a compelling story of why we should be accredited. And so pulling that data, but most importantly, really where we are is the financial stability component, raising the dollars to show that we are fiscally stable to operate as a college. And so that component with what we've already done, I think we should be able to get through this process within 12 to 18 months is my goal.
That's a very ambitious goal.
It is.
And I think it can definitely be done because from that time when the accreditation lost to now, there's been fights to keep it. There's one time they wanted to make it Morris Brown State University,
Right.
which the board didn't want, the alumni didn't want. So now they said, now we'll keep it as we were, but I think you can be able to get that done because people didn't want to become a state school.
Yes. Right now, what I am doing is I want to rally the alumni, and I want to really be able to tell a story and regain that trust. I feel right now that a lot of people, you know, they're just waiting for us, like you mentioned earlier, to just close our doors. And so I really want to be able to tell a story that Morris Brown is very much alive, and that we are educating our students, and that we will be able to move forward as a college. And so I want to rebuild the trust in the community, to get them to buy in to donating, helping us out, you know, helping us with our financial stability. And so we're going to be looking for a lot of individuals to give to Morris Brown.
There's a lot of passion about the school online. There's a young man by the name of Julian, I forget his last name for the sake of this interview, but he was trying to restore Gaines Hall.
Yes.
So are you familiar with that campaign, and what are your thoughts about that?
Yes, actually, we have an individual who's writing a grant for us to restore Fountain Hall, which is a historic landmark, and so we want to restore Fountain Hall, and so a $500,000 grant has been written, and we're hoping that we get that grant. Cross your fingers.
Fingers crossed. That's like the thing they had the petition online about. Like they said, that building was built at the same time a similar building that Georgia Tech was built.
Absolutely.
And it was even argued that building was built first.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of history behind that where people just kind of said that's kind of back, then everything else can come back. And then there was a lawsuit years ago in regards to the sale of some property on this campus.
Yes.
The Supreme Court ruled that it violated an agreement from the 40s.
Right.
So some people argue, well, that was a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Because you got to keep the building so you guys can go to campus.
Yes, absolutely. And if we, you know, the lawsuit basically says that if we actually ended as an educational organization, that it would go back to that university.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So
we'll make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And Morris Brown stays open.
And that's what we got to have in Morris Brown. I mean, I think with your leadership, are we able to bring it to modern day educational standards?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And actually, for us to become accredited again, we would have to be up to that standard. And so we definitely want to do that. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for folks who are interested in pouring in to help us to get the dollars that we need to bring it up to standard. I mean, right now we are educating. Right now, and it is collegiate education. I mean, you know, we're up. Of course, it'll always be better, right?
Yeah.
But we are educating students right now. We have a host of faculty members, volunteers who are pushing a way to educate our students.
Now, with the educational requirements that are going on to try to add in more programs, are you guys going to look at doing like a study or analysis of what can we offer that other HBCUs are not offering to make this school really a competitive school, or bring back old degree programs, or maybe this that a little bit too premature for us to talk about?
I think right now it's premature, but as we grow, we will grow our programs. Now, within the programs that we decide to go with as we apply to tracks, like I mentioned earlier, we will make sure that we have the right majors in degree programs for right now. I always believe in being competitive and having a unique advantage, and so I am looking to see how we can, you know, be a little bit different from some of the surrounding colleges with our degree program offerings, and so we definitely will be looking into that.
And with the accreditation process, what is that going to look like for the public that don't understand that they make this thing, oh, we just fill out the form and just cross our fingers and wait? I'm sure there's a whole lot more to that.
Yeah, no, it's an entire process.
Yeah.
First, you start with completing the application to become a correspondence school, which means you're having the conversation. And then we actually go through a self-study where we go through a lot of different requirements that are required by the United States Department of Education to indicate quality. We want to indicate that we have quality academics, that we have quality facilities, that we have quality programs, that we have program outcomes. You know, and so we go through the whole self-study and go through the entire process to make sure that we are a quality institution. And then once that happens, once we ensure that we meet all those criteria, we'll become a candidate school, which means that we're pre-accredited. Now, once we become the candidate school, we're eligible to apply for federal financial aid. And that is my goal right now. And then we have 5 years after that process to become fully accredited institution with tracks.
So it's a 5-year process. So once they get the preliminary, we can begin to bring students back who have the financial aid.
Yes.
Then continue to grow from that.
Absolutely.
Then it'll be completely, okay, we're now official.
Fully accredited within 5 years.
Fully accredited within 5 years. So that's very fast tracking, which I like.
Yes.
Because I think it's long overdue. And
Yes.
it definitely needed a shot in the horn.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to the community at large, let's just talk about Black Atlanta, for example. What are you expecting or needing from Black Atlanta?
Oh my goodness, I need everyone to rally behind the oldest HBCU founded by Black people, 1881 Morris Brown College. We need everyone to rally behind us. We're going to have phone-a-thons, we're going to have a social media campaign, we're going to have events, we're going to have a gala, we're going to have all kinds of things to really get folks to come in and rally behind us now that we have started this process of getting our accreditation back. And so we just want the community, Black and white, to pour into Morris Brown College.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that was founded by Black people.
Yes.
Because a lot of people know that a lot of HBCUs were not founded by Black people.
Right.
So Morris Brown was indeed started by Blacks for Blacks and grew to where it is today.
Yes, with a lot of support from the AME Church. Yeah. And that support, we're so grateful for the AME Church. They really have poured into Morris Brown and the other AME affiliated schools, and we appreciate them so much. As a matter of fact, I'll go on record by saying that if it was not for the AME Church, that Morris Brown would have closed its doors many years ago. And so through the support of the AME Church and other contributors, we've been able to stay open. And we're going to push through this process. We're going to push through this and become an accredited institution of higher learning. And we're going to be one of the most vibrant HBCUs out here. That's my commitment to Morris Brown.
And when I look at that, I know we have a lot to do. We've got to rebuild the campus, restore buildings, rebrand things. So it's a lot of things that have to be going. So what can we expect for this year?
Yes.
We know we don't have a magic wand that you can fix everything in one day, but what can people take away from, what we can see? Because I know there's been a lot of false starts, and we're not blaming you for that, which has happened in the past, but sometimes as leaders, we have to kind of say, okay, I want to show y'all some things, you gotta know we're serious.
Sure. So the first thing that we have is I'm going to have a meet and greet. I've been meeting with alumni already, but I'm going to have a meet and greet on next Wednesday just for the alumni to come out and shake my hand, listen to me, talk about my vision of what I want to do. Right now, I really want to touch the heart of the alumni to make sure that they understand that we will press forward. A lot of alumni, they just didn't know what was going to happen. But I want to gain that confidence from the alumni, so that will be immediate. The next week, the following week, we're going to have our Founders Day over at Allen AME Church, and we invite everyone to come out and support. And we're going to use that opportunity to raise some dollars. Of course, it's our Founders Day. We're appreciative of our founding, but I'm going to use that opportunity for us to really raise some dollars. So I encourage the community to come out and support that. I am going to, thereafter that, I'm going to start a rebranding campaign where I really want to push a new image of Morris Brown College. I've been working with some marketing and re-imaging and branding firms who are going to donate their time to help us with our image. And so that is one of my immediate to-dos. And I've actually already submitted the initial application for us to begin the conversation with tracks. So we've already started that, and we're scheduling a meeting with the vice president of that organization for myself and him to sit down and start the conversation for us to begin the process with our accreditation. And so those are some of the immediate things that we're going to be working on. And of course, fundraising is a high priority, and we're going to be working on that as well.
I think after the Bennett campaign, that you saw a lot of people
Absolutely.
got behind that. So I think that's definitely a lot of synergies and energy that's still left over from that.
Yes.
Even though they didn't get their accreditation back, but it was just a lot of people that just came out of nowhere supporting that from a school that some knew of, but most didn't. And they just
Absolutely.
they broke the internet with that campaign.
Social media is king, and we're going to do a similar campaign where we print up T-shirts and maybe hopefully get some celebrities to support us and go onto their social media's websites and advocate for Morris Brown. But we're going to do something similar. And you mentioned that they didn't get their accreditation. Actually, Bennett still has their accreditation.
Oh, yeah.
They're going through some legal things, but they're still accredited. But if they do not get that accreditation with SACS, they're actually going to be applying to the same body that we're applying to, TRACS. So
with TRACS, how many schools are with TRACS right now?
Right now, I saw on the website that they currently have about 80 schools.
Yeah.
It's a smaller agency. SACS, I believe, accredits maybe 1,400 schools. It's a smaller agency, but at the end of the day, both organizations are approved by the United States Department of Education. That is why both organizations can utilize federal financial aid and Title IV funding, right? And so we want to urge everyone that just because we're switching accrediting bodies, is of a similar or just as good quality. So.
And I'm glad to see I'm excited about TRACS because I think everybody was so caught up with SACS, and we dealt with that with the suburban school system here in Atlanta where they lost accreditation for why they had to come back.
Right.
So it's definitely can be rebounded.
Sure.
So as the leader of this college, what are some things that you want to bring just based off your experiences, like on top of day-to-day campus life? What can the students expect? What can the community expect?
Sure. Well, I want to bring leadership. I want to bring energy. I mean, I think one thing that everyone keeps saying to me is I have this energy and I have this charisma in the sense of bringing people together. And I know that's one of the things that God gave me. I come from a large family. I just love people. And so I've always believed if you're in the people business, you should love people, right? And so I believe that I want to bring together unifying our alumni, unifying our faculty and staff, unifying our students. And so I'm going to start there. In addition to the fact of my academic leadership, my experience with fundraising, my experience, with academic instruction. And so I believe that these are some of the qualities that I'm going to bring here to Morris Brown College. Not to mention that I really want to do my best to restore this school. Right now we have a hashtag, Restore Morris Brown, hashtag Restore Morris Brown. And then I also added another hashtag, which I actually got from my pastor. He preached a sermon on the hard reset, starting over. Yeah. And so it just came to me that, oh my goodness, the hard reset, that's what we're going to have to do at Morris Brown. And so the hard reset of really rebranding ourselves and telling a new story, or telling our history and adding on to our story to take Morris Brown into the future.
Yeah, I saw that hard reset thing. I said it is going to be a hard reset. Yeah. So I also give you credit for it. So you said it came from your past.
Yes, sir.
So with the hard reset, trying to really get people on board, have you found that the the faculty and staff are supporting this hard reset, or has it been kind of just, we've heard it before,
Sure.
they kind of shrug their shoulders off of it?
Sure. I think because I'm speaking from my heart and from a place of passion, that people can see that, and I've had nothing but phenomenal reception. Faculty, staff, students, and the alumni. I'm so grateful for, all the emails and Facebook messages and Twitters and Instagram messages, everybody being so receptive. One thing about that, the reason why I think that they're that way is because I'm listening to them. I really want to have a dialogue, not just what I'm going to do, but what do you guys think? We have a focus group meeting here every Tuesday night where the alumni come here and we talk about issues of Morris Brown, talk about how to raise dollars. And I haven't missed, it's only been 2 meetings, but I've been at both meetings and we put all our heads together. And I think that they're very receptive to the fact that I want to be a part of the team, not just a dictator. And so I've received nothing but warm wishes from everybody.
And that's very unique for a university president, because as a former student government official, most presidents is hung out in the ivory tower like this. You have to literally break in and come up here and say, you can go out there and touch people. You can say, I'm not going to govern behind this desk. I'm going to actually get out there with the people.
I'm going to be the people's prayers.
Yeah. The people's prayers, that's another hashtag. So as the people's president, I think you have a lot of energy and charisma to that. It's not that stuffy educational thing of where you've been reciting theories, and those theories are important.
True.
But you have to know this is a very unique, challenging, and trying situation.
Yes.
And as an administrator, how can you take a previous experience and bring it to here? Like, what are some things you say, okay, this worked over here, and I think I can tweak it for over here?
Sure. Well, I'm a collaborative leader, and I think that everyone, when it comes to leadership, they're a combination of their experiences, right? And so I'm going to bring my experiences with me, but just because it worked over there doesn't mean it'll work here. But we'll have that conversation. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And we'll put it together and make the best fit for Morris Brown College. And so that's kind of my style of leadership when it comes to bringing different ideas from different places. And so that's how I look at that.
What made you want to get into educational administration?
Oh, wow.
In two decades.
It's interesting because when I graduated from college, my major was speech pathology and communication disorders. And I wanted to become an audiologist. And when I graduated, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And the first job that I was able to get was teaching at a non-traditional organization at Job Corps. And when I taught at Job Corps, I was working with students who were my age. At the time, I was 21, 22, and my students were 18, 19, 20. They were my age. And it was there that I fell in love with adult students. And I specifically love the non-traditional student and those students who come from backgrounds such as mine, And so it was there that I fell in love with adult students. And I looked into college leadership. I met a mentor, and at the time he was a vice president, and then he eventually became a college president, and I just was in awe of that. And I said, you know what? It's several colleges in every city in America, so I should be able to find a job, job security, right? And so I went on and earned my doctorate in higher education leadership, and the rest is history. And I've been in love with it ever since. My first job outside of teaching was working in recruiting and admissions, right? So that's where I kind of honed my skills on talking to the people and being a people person and listening to the people, right? I never forget one of my first jobs as a recruiter. I would go out to the community and I would talk about my college in front of large audiences. And I never forget that I was in charge of the prison release program. And I'll never forget going to the 30-day release, and these inmates were staring at me like, okay, what are you going to say? And it was there that I really fell in love with talking in front of large audiences. Nevertheless, over the years, I developed a greater love for working in admin leadership. And once I earned my doctorate degree, my first administrative role was an associate dean at Strayer University back in 2009, and it's been going on ever since then. So that's how I got in it.
So you've been in a lot of non-traditional environments,
yes,
which definitely is going to be very applicable here.
Yes.
To where it's not the typical 40,000 plus student body that has 12 deans and infinite number of associate deans. So you get those smaller schools, you have a large thing to carry, such as one department like a dean at Georgia State.
Sure.
So it's definitely, I think, it's all moving in here.
Sure, absolutely.
So as you continue to move forward with this, opening back up the campus and stuff, are you going to improve relations between this university and the rest of the AUC? There's a lot of strained relations over the years.
Yes, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, that's an interesting point because I'm affiliated, I'm in the 100 Black Men of Atlanta. I also serve on the board of directors. And the college presidents traditionally in the AUC have always been members, the male presidents, of course, have been members of the 100 Black Men. So I knew the former president of Clark. I know the current president of Morehouse. I've met the president of Spelman, and I've met the president over at Morehouse School of Medicine. So I want to definitely build upon those relationships. I kind of already have a relationship with all of them, but I want to definitely build on top of those current relations that I already have.
That's going to be very key.
Absolutely.
Definitely having everybody back on the same page and stuff, so people are very excited to see what's going on.
Yes.
So what can we say is like the average student life here? What are some things that for somebody who wants to come here as a student, what can they expect?
Sure, and I'm going to be very transparent with that question.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of student life. We have some student activities, such as We just competed in the Battle of the Brains, and I just went to Texas to compete. I want to do more of that. Of course, we're not accredited, so I can't have the fraternities and sorority life and that kind of thing. But when I first got here, my experience with the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, I'm looking at starting the auxiliary organization under the umbrella of the 100, and that's called the Collegiate 100. And so we're going to be filling the application out to charter a chapter of the Collegiate 100, where all of our students will get mentors in the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, and they'll be able to go out and both be mentored and also be a mentor to kids in the community.
To hear that, I mean, definitely you use a lot of relationships and leveraging
My current relationships.
That's really gonna be needed.
Absolutely.
So,
I think that's why they hired me.
So what about with the city of Atlanta? There's so much going on literally in your backyard over
Absolutely.
there with stuff over here on the west side. How do you see you leveraging the college with working with the city on trying to get them on board with some
Yes.
stuff?
Well, I am a people person, like I mentioned, and I love to develop relationships. So I'm going to be sending out letters and asking for lunches and meetings and going to different meetings in this community to really just tell the Morris Brown story. I want to be very visible in the community, meet as many people as I can. The good thing about me coming from the 100 is I actually know a lot of people already, so I want to develop those relationships and kind of build on top of those.
And what would you want to tell a prospective student that's thinking about Morris Brown?
Sure.
What would you tell them about why they should come back, or why they should even consider this as an option for them?
Sure. Well, we're still open. We're still open for business. We have quality instruction going on here. And what a lot of people don't know is our students who have graduated from Morris Brown during this unaccredited process still have been very successful. Going out, becoming gainfully employed. We have a lot of our students who have gone on to graduate school. We actually have a listing of all the schools that have accepted our degree program, and they can go on and earn their master's degree and even go on from there. So we just want to encourage students that we are a viable option. If they're interested in Morris Brown, we would welcome them. We still have campus tours. As a matter of fact, next week we have 2 schools that are going to be coming to get a campus tour. And so we're still a viable option. If you're interested in Morris Brown, please fill out an application and come on and see us.
But what else would you like us to know about what's going on here at the colleges and things that people just may not be thinking about?
Well, just the fact that we are still pushing out quality education. A lot of people don't know that our doors are still open. We currently have 40 students. We have faculty and staff, volunteers, a host of other individuals who are still pouring into our students. At the end of the day, it's about whom? The student. And so we're loving on our students, we're grooming our students to do whatever it is that they want to do. And I really want to tell that story to the community of our success stories with our current student population.
Tell us about some of those success stories.
Sure. Well, I just gave one example of the fact that we won the Battle of the Brains last week, right?
Yeah.
We beat other schools in the AUC. And, some folks, Morris Brown, where'd you guys come from?
Yeah.
Well, we're here, and we're here to compete. And so that's just the most recent success story that I can tell about us winning the Battle of the Brains competition last week.
About the Brains, I've been hearing a lot about that. So, and you guys won that because a lot of people thought that was a joke. They're like, Morris Brown, is that an old? So, no, that was legal.
Exactly. It's a legitimate competition. And again, we just sent some students to Austin, Texas to compete on a larger scale.
So, I mean, I'm very excited about the great work that's happening, that's continuing to happen at the school, where people kind of have given up and just say, you know what, I'm going to come and face the challenges heads on. A lot of times as Black people, we have to do that. And even just as leaders of organizations, there's a lot of challenges to where we have to just say, hey, just somebody has to do it. So what help and resource are you looking for when people say, hey, I'm excited, I want to do more, I want to actually see this get up there. We know we got to fundraise, we know we got a lot of volunteering stuff. So when we say volunteering,
Yes.
what are you expecting people to do with volunteering?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing some phonathons. We would love individuals to volunteer to help us out with that. In-kind donations, if it's any individuals out there that can donate from their companies or their organizations, maybe furniture or computers or just different resources that we may need around here. Because right now we may not have the funding to get some of those things that we may need. At the end of the day, fundraising to the general operating fund is critically important. Not only do we still have to pay salaries and pay all of our bills, but we have to build our coffers for our accreditation application, and when we're going into that process to show that we're fiscally stable, we're financially in a good place to move forward as an accredited institution. So we welcome any and everybody to contact us to volunteer. As a matter of fact, they can reach out to volunteers@morrisbrown.edu. Just let us know what your skill set is, how you feel like you can help us, and we'll have someone to reach out to you.
Volunteers@morrisbrown.edu.
Yes.
So that way they can get involved, like they want to do with companies, organizations. So definitely be issuing some challenges out there to get the people out there.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, when it comes to higher education administration, we see very rarely we see a lot of black guys in that position. So what would you tell black guys who are considering going to that field? What should they look for? What is some advice that you wish somebody would have told you, or just some nuggets of wisdom?
Sure. Well, I like to always say to always have a mentor. Really look at finding a mentor, someone who's in the role, or has experience in that role, and learn as much as you can. I had a mentor. I still have mentors even today, and just learn as much as you can. It's not a lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of black men in education, but in my viewpoint, we do a pretty good job when given the opportunity to do it. And so, just find a mentor and just learn as much as you can and kind of go from there.